Attack on Titan, the Tribute game, is one of the best fan games out there, if not the best fan game out there. The game is just amazing, and I've been playing it for years. But I will admit there are some problems with it. Now, I'm not here to critique the game, I'm just here to review the game. Overall, I believe this game has the biggest potential over anything. It's just sad that nobody's working on it anymore. This game, if it is getting a sequel, this game has a lot of potential in a lot of places it could go. Mostly in control-wise and graphics-wise. I really like the graphics of the game, by the way, just saying. But we'll get into that once we get into the video. One of my biggest complaints about the game is just how difficult it is. Now, I know in the footage that you're seeing right now, it doesn't look that difficult. And of course it doesn't look that difficult. When you're watching other people who are actually good at the game play it, it looks incredibly easy. But truth be told, it's very hard. The game is actually so difficult that it's actually made me rage so hard that I've come very close to breaking my laptop in half. I think what makes the difficulty so high is the fact that you don't have that sort of targeting system like you do in Wings of Freedom. But you do have a targeting system, sort of, but it does not help at all. I mean, in the footage, it takes me forever to just kill this one Titan. And the reason is because you move so quickly, and the maneuver gear isn't exactly, well, it's not exactly stiff, but it's also not exactly to the point where you need it to be. It needs to be to the point that it's sensitive enough to feel like you're in the anime, but it also needs to feel like you can have control over it. This game kind of goes oversensitive with it. You could be flying down and then have to make an immediate stop to kill a Titan. You could rush right into an abnormal. In fact, I've rushed into an abnormal 3 times and was killed all 3 times because I couldn't stop with the maneuver gear. Now, don't get me wrong. The feeling that when you're flying through the city or the forest or whatever, and you're just flying as fast as you can, it feels amazing. The problem is when you have to stop and kill a Titan. This is why I think there should personally be a lock-on button so that you latch on. The lock-on button that they have in-game is not a good lock-on button. All it does is just target the neck. You don't even shoot your cables at the neck. You shoot wherever the cursor is pointing, which is another problem I have. The mouse in this game is a problem, and it's not inherently the developer's fault. I think what happened is that the original camera angle is mostly what I'm talking about here. The original camera angle is horrible. Basically, you shoot, I understand why it's a feature. You shoot a cable wherever the mouse is targeting. But the problem with that is that in the original sort of camera angle, you're moving around so that when you put the mouse to the side, then the screen moves. That's a problem. And it was a huge problem. I'm actually lucky that I found the new TPS camera angle, or this game would be unplayable, and I would lose a lot of respect for the game, because the camera angle would be just stupid. Now, again, I'm not saying the developer did anything wrong here. I completely understand why he did this. It's to make it feel more realistic. But it doesn't really work. If they are making a sequel to this game, they definitely need to get the camera angle down first. Now, I had no problem with the TPS camera angle, but the original camera angle, which is preset when you first boot up the game, that's a problem. The game needs to start off with the TPS camera angle so that you don't run into this. And even that is a problem. The TPS camera angle has the cursor in the middle of the screen. Now you may say, oh, that's okay. Well, you can't really, all you can do then is just shoot the cables forward. Now, this is why this is better than just moving it around, because the camera moves with the cursor, but the cursor is also controlling the cables and the direction the cables go, so sometimes you get caught on stuff that you don't mean to, and you just mean to turn the camera, and you want to latch onto something ahead of you. It's very complicated, and I do not know how they're going to do it. One of the biggest complaints I had was, of course, the camera angle, but another problem I kind of have is the Titans difficulty. There are some really cheap stuff that can happen with Titans. I know for a fact, because it's happened to me before, you sometimes teleport into a Titan's hand. For example, you can be climbing up a building, like I was in one moment of my life, I guess, and I was on the other side of a building when a Titan did grab at me. But he grabbed me. He didn't even touch me. I was on the other side of the building, and he grabbed me, and I teleported into his hand. The Titans in this game are literally cheap. They are just so cheap. And I honestly don't know why this is. The hit points, the target hit points, are also way too small. One of the problems that I keep having is that I will be hitting a Titan's neck, right on the neck, and it won't die. I have to get a little higher, but my blades are high enough to cut the neck. The hitbox needs to be larger. You need to hit it in a precise point, which is very annoying and very dangerous. You could be running right into a Titan herd area, and you could need to kill a Titan quickly, but you're stuck on the Titan because the Titan won't die, because you're hitting the bottom of the neck, but it needs to be just like a millicentimeter higher, because the hitbox is too small. Now, I've been going on about how a lot of faults of this game. Let's start talking about the positive. The positive, I don't care what anybody says about this. This game is fun as hell. This game is addictive. It's fun. It's just a little too hard. I will tell you right now, I will die defending this game. Even with its faults, this game still has some of the best gameplay ever. And it makes you feel fun. It makes you feel like you're actually in the anime. You really gotta get practice, though. This is really the only way you're gonna get good at this game is practice. There is no way that you could actually beat this game, all the stages in this game, without practice. But it also makes it feel real. The game does have a good sense of humor, at least in the sprite work as well. I think the game does definitely have good moments in it. There are definitely moments where the Titans aren't cheap, and you clearly hitting the top portion of the neck when you need to hit the bottom portion. But honestly, I don't care what anybody says. The sprite work here is actually really good. And I know a lot of people say that, oh, the quality of the game is horrible. The graphics are stupid and horrible. No, they're not. They're just not Wings of Freedom level. The game works perfectly like this. The graphics work for this game. If this was the Wings of Freedom game, then yeah, I would understand why people would have a problem with it. But this is its own game, and it's a fun, addictive game. It's a great attempt at an Attack on Titan game, as this was the first ever Attack on Titan game that I've ever played. Hell, I actually played this before I even before I even watched the show. I didn't know anything about Attack on Titan other than, well, this. And plus, another plus, it gave me one of my favorite YouTube series of all time. That being Attack on Titan, the tribute game, Land Party. I don't care what anybody says. I love their 16-episode series. Shout out to them. Those guys are awesome. And this game just proves that. The game is intense, though. Even with its faults, the game is still very intense, in a good way. It's just some of the intense moments are pretty stupid. Honestly, I have no problem with the intensity of this game, other than the difficulty, but that's not important. I've already been over that. The difficulty of the game does make it pretty intense, though, in a good way. The intensity, for good or worse, is very high, especially when you're fighting bosses like Annie or the Colossus. The Colossus is by far the, well, easiest boss, in my opinion, compared to something like, well, Annie, who's a cheap bitch and kills you just by flicking you, which is still pissed about that one. I don't care. It's just such a great game. And the intensity is really good, especially if you add music. One thing I would like to see, though, is you shouldn't have to add music. That's another fault that it has. It does not have any music. Personally, I would pick the LAN Party soundtrack music. Those guys know what's good, and they know good music when it comes to this stuff. Another thing that I kind of have a problem with is the selection of characters. There is not a lot to choose from. You have Aaron, Armin, Mikasa, of course, but you also have Levi, Jean, Petra, Sasha, and oh my god, I think that's it actually. And 3 custom characters. Wouldn't it be cool to see Annie in there with the same ability as Aaron, like being able to go Titan mode and you can play as the female Titan or something like that? It would have just been cool to see more characters. And also the customization in the game, while pretty good and very unique actually, this was the first Attack on Titan game to actually do that. In fact, I'm pretty sure this was the first Attack on Titan game, period. Not official game. That would go to Wings of Freedom. But no Attack on Titan game, except the most recent one, has actually done that before. And I think a lot of people overlook that, making your own Survey Corps member, which is pretty good, in my opinion. And I definitely recommend creating your own character. If this game is mostly set for the people who want to have a good time and play just a fun Attack on Titans inspired game. Personally, I can't really blame it. It's such a good game, and it's just amazing. The online community is still going strong, and I will say this, I really want to see a sequel to this game. I think I've mentioned the sequel at this point so many times. I really want to see a sequel, and I want to see it done right, good, amazing. It's just overall fun. The community, I will say this, play single player before you play multiplayer without people you know, because oh boy, it is just a train wreck. I mean, it's not bad, it's not horrible. But it's very rare you're gonna find a good session. But it's for those hardcore fans that really love Attack on Titan and they really want to see a game where you can make your own Survey Corps member. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? That would be awesome. I mean, it's already happened because of Attack on Titan 2, but you know. You get the point. Alright, that has been Meaty. I'm signing off. Peace out, guys.